Welcome back to the Flix Capacitor podcast, hosted by two guys who met on TikTok and now talk to each other every week while people, for some reason, listen. And today, we have a very special guest, my uncle, Charles Frederick. I'm going to add that in later, don't worry.
It's a pleasure to be here, guys.
A fellow Batman fan. And
hardcore.
That is today's topic.
No. Don't skip over. Hardcore Batman fan. That's
there we go.
That's what's important here.
He's hard for Batman.
You know what? Honestly,
you know what?
If I rolled like that, I mean, come on, that's a hot car. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, Batgirl's more.
Honestly, we should start out. Who is Batman to you, Fred? Who is the definitive Batman to you?
Ooh, that's interesting. So I guess for me, it would still have to be the Keaton 1988, 89. What year was that?
89.
I mean, just it was so profoundly new. This concept out on a video medium. I mean, we had explored more hardcore Batmans in the comic world, but this was the first time on the big screen in a real way we saw Batman, not goofing around going biff and pow, from 1965 or whatever it was. I think it was a little later than that, 67, whatever it was. No, it was 66. I think it was 66. Anyhow,
66,
I think you're right.
yeah.
I think it was 66.
Which I grew up with. I mean, I'm not that old, but I was watching the reruns, and that was still. First of all, the fights they were cheesy, but they were fun, and the car. I actually have a hard time because if I'm gonna put them in order, it would still be the Keaton Batmobile. Then I struggle because you got the classic Batmobile from the 60s, which is probably the coolest thing in the whole show.
And isn't the 60s Batmobile like a rejected Ford?
It was
car?
a Lincoln. It was a Lincoln. Yeah, you can actually Google it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, if you Google the original, I forget 1963 or something. It was a concept car from Lincoln, and it is absolutely the Batmobile from the 60s with the bubble lights, windshield and all that. It is that car, and they just took it and obviously chopped and spliced and made cool things out of it. And the concept Lincoln was kind of cheesy, but the Batmobile they came up with was awesome. I mean, I would drive that car today. But I'll tell you the next one on my list, which is a very close. I'm still not sure which order I'd put these in, but I think the one from the Batman versus Superman series, that Batmobile is bad. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's like a mix between like a tank, like the Tumbler was, and then also has that like bat aesthetic.
Yeah, no, it
to
still had the mobile part.
Wings on
yeah,
it. Because
the Tumbler was an awesome kick-ass machine. I don't know, what language do we use on your podcast? Are we
No, you're free
you
to
can say whatever you can say whatever the fuck you want.
I didn't know if this was going out to the children or anything.
Absolutely
no,
not.
I always say on YouTube whenever I'm uploading the video, I always mark it not for children.
Okay.
It's actually exclusively for children.
Yeah, well, there it is. So the Tumbler was an amazing weapon. It was a very cool machine, and an awesome piece of artillery, if you want to think of it that way. But it had no aesthetic to it. Like, it didn't have the sleekness. It didn't have the smoothness. I thought the way he had to like slide his seat over and go into a downward crawl, like downward dog yoga position or something to fire his weapons was ridiculous. It made no sense whatsoever.
Batmobile, doggy style edition.
Well, seriously. The coolest thing about that car, as far as I was concerned, was that when it totally got busted up, he was able to hit a button and the front two wheels just sort of flipped around, turned into a motorcycle.
Oh, it turned into the
That was
Batpods?
cool.
Yeah.
That was cool. But you know, the stuff with the Clooney years and who was the other? Val Kilmer. Those two Batmobiles blew. I'm sorry, no two ways about it. Blew.
No,
I kind of like the Val Kilmer one.
No,
because the front of it lights up through like the ribs of it.
Okay,
it's cool.
If you're smoking some doobie, then maybe.
You know what that Batmobile reminds me of? Look up the VeggieTales Larry Boy vehicle that he drives. That is always what I thought it looked like because the wheels are like out and like disconnected.
No. I'm sorry.
It was ridiculous.
And then the one, was it Clooney that was a one-seater? Like, why are you not just on a motorcycle? It literally had a one seat, and then this huge, like shark-like single wing in the back that could like divide.
Fin?
Yeah. What is that? It's supposed to be Batman, not Sharkman. Like, what is this?
Yeah, that's right. Oh my god, I forgot that it split into two for some reason.
No, it's insane. And if you're only gonna have one seat, why not just be on a motorcycle? Like, what are we talking about here? No, the whole thing was dumb.
Yeah.
No, but
Ben Affleck's is really sweet though.
Ben Affleck's is well. It's you think about it because it's cool, it's sleek as you expect the Batmobile, but it was also really functional. I mean, it was a bad machine, but I'll tell you that moment in the 1989 Batman where they come out of the museum, he's rescuing Vicky Vale, and he says, "Get in the car." And she, of course, what car? Because, of course, it's a parking lot full of cars. Like he's going to pull up in a Yugo or a Volkswagen Beetle or something. and then the car drives itself up and opens the door. And, the music hits it just perfectly, the reveal of the Batmobile. And you're like, fuck yeah. I mean, it was the coolest thing. And then they go driving and they're chasing through the city and all of that stuff. And then a confession. Because I grew up in the country and I love to drive, and I used to drive when I got my license, there was a road that you would take from town into where our neighborhood was, that it was called Silver Street, and you drove, there was this whole stretch with no houses, and it was that scene where he's driving to the Batcave with her in the car, and the music is actually entitled Descent into what is it? It's like Descent into Mystery Madness? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's driving through, and it was like the road that I used to have to drive home on. And I watched that scene so many times because I thought the music, the car with the leaves flying around and everything, it was just, that was I'm sold. Michael Keaton all the way.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the Flash reboot of this whole thing, where he comes back as the older but the same Batman. Like, I can't wait to see what that is. Yeah. Please that they didn't fuck it up.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are wanting them to do a Batman Beyond movie with Keaton as the older Bruce.
That's what I've been saying for years. That's what we need.
Well,
because
we have the tech, like we have the production technology to actually make that work. In many ways, we've already seen the elements, because like the Bat, it wasn't the pod. What did they call it in the last Batman Rises film? It actually was the flying Batmobile.
Oh, right.
I think
I forgot.
Morgan Freeman just called it the Bat, which was a little stupid.
Yeah.
But it actually flew. They introduced sort of foolishly that little cop kid that as Robin was his middle name at the end of those movies. Yeah. But no, if Keaton could totally do the older version of Batman, and no, it would really be hip. It would be very cool. Who would you cast though as the young? I forget the character's name.
Terry McGinnis.
It's Terry. Yeah.
Terry. Yeah.
Terry McGinnis.
Yeah,
I don't know, because it somewhat Asian, right? Because he's Asian in the show, right? Or kind of.
I don't remember that particular detail, but yes, young, college age.
He was. Yeah, someone young. I don't know, honestly. I'm trying to think of actors right now that are worthwhile.
You know, there's only one person they're ever going to cast, and that's that kid who plays Batman or Spider-Man. I mean, he shows up in everything.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, Tom Holland.
So yeah, it'll be Tom
Yeah,
Holland.
he's Fred Astaire now.
Is he really?
Fred Astaire in the biopic. I'm just like, yeah, where'd you come from? Like every other movie you've done is terrible. Why are you doing this? I don't. The thing though about the Batman Beyond thing is that the mask is his entire face,
yes,
but his mouth is moving in it. So they'd have to kind of figure out how to.
You can get around that though.
Integrate that, I guess.
You could get around that. I think. Okay, so think about the Flash series, the Flash series that's been on. If you look at some of the other Flashes, I forget the Zoom was it had a solid
like
face.
Zoom, yeah, he had that mouthpiece.
Yeah. You know, we don't have to see his mouth moving. True. It was just sort of an opening.
Actually, in the Batman Arkham Knight video game, there is a modernized Batman Beyond suit that you can wear.
Cool.
And for the mouthpiece, it's like a visor, and then you can just see his mouth behind it.
Okay.
That's cool.
You know, it's like a guard.
Yeah.
It's like a glass guard over his mouth. And I was like,
I think
honestly, I feel like that's the coolest way that you could make it look cool in like a live action sense.
Yeah.
Well, that or like in the first Suicide Squad when Ben Affleck was underwater, he had that thing that he just kind of that oxygen thing that he took on and off of his regular mask. That was pretty sweet. That like one good 8 seconds of that movie.
Okay, so since you went there, Ben Affleck is Batman. What are your thoughts?
Love it.
I think overall, I think he was really good because they were going for the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns Batman, and in that sense, I liked it. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I don't like it because he kills and all this stuff." And it's like, then I don't think you understood the movie.
Well,
you were going away from that,
but then you watch Batman '89, and Michael Keaton is just gunning people down like it's not a problem. So I don't think there's really an argument there. He blew up an entire building of people and then drove away like it was no big deal.
Well, actually, the car did it. It was in remote control, so he kind of had distance.
Oh, that's right.
But in Batman, in like the opening of Batman Returns, doesn't he like just put a stick of dynamite on a goon and then run away?
Yeah, he just sticks a bomb to somebody. Yeah,
and none of us had a problem with that. None of us had an issue with that at all.
No.
Yeah,
but you know, we were animals in the '80s
because it's cool the way he kills people.
Well, I think, in all honesty, I think it's because. Yes, like obviously the Michael Keaton Batman movies really laid the foundation for future Batman movies, but when it comes to Batman as a character, it's the animated series.
Yes. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
You know, it is 100% the animated
up until
series that
Christian Bale.
Batman who he is.
Up until Christian Bale, because they really explored. They took the time to explore it. Mm-hmm. But yes, I totally agree. And I would say the most comprehensive, best storytelling of the Batman, mythos is the original iteration of Batman, the animated series. With Kevin Conroy, which I just to this day, as a full-grown ass adult, I find that a completely watchable, enjoyable, and I've seen every episode multiple times. The animation is amazing, the story is amazing, the acting, the writing, it's fabulous.
Yes, of course.
Designs.
And not only for Batman's character, but for his rogues gallery. You know, that show made his rogues gallery as famous as it is today.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Like without a doubt, he has the most popular rogues gallery.
Well, the coin, the huge coin DC. He collected, the various. No, it was fabulous, and I mean, I literally don't have a single criticism of that entire production experience.
It's flawless. It really is.
Now, to answer my own question about Ben Affleck as Batman.
Yes.
I will admit, when they announced it at first, I was in the camp of, really? Affleck?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Benifer? Huh?
Well, especially considering it was announced that he was going up against Henry Cavill's Superman.
Well,
so you were probably like, how is he ever going to beat Henry Cavill?
Loved it. I thought he was so much better than I was prepared to experience from him. First of all, one of the big criticisms that I think is due of Christian Bale's was, of course, the voice of Batman, which he just growled, and it made it silly. It really was kind of like really, and he, the actor, had a lot of problems with it. You know, he would lose his voice regularly throughout the filming of that because he's just said, "I'm Batman." You can't talk like that.
Yeah.
But
I think in the first one it worked a little bit because he more was whisper yelling.
It was just it was
as
like
the
a
franchise
deeper tone
went on, he was
gargling.
like getting more mad. You know what I mean?
it wasn't working.
Have you seen the college humor Batman videos?
No. Some of them
Is
maybe.
it like that one comedian who plays Batman most
Pete
of the time?
Holmes. Pete Holmes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen a couple
Some
of
of okay, just look up on YouTube college humor Batman. Every single one of them is funny. Some of the funniest things I've ever seen, but there's one video where it's like Batman chooses his voice and he goes through all these voices and it's like, "Hello, governor, where were the other drugs going?" And then it finally at the end he's like, "Where were the other drugs going?" And the goon is like, "Hey, you know what?" He's like, "That's not bad. You should do that." It's like, "I just lost my voice."
I love it. Did
you ever see the audition tape for the guy who played Scarecrow in Batman Begins?
Cillian Murphy?
For Batman.
No.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
He auditioned for Batman first.
Really?
And what's funny is that they all, including Robert Pattinson, have auditioned in the Val Kilmer suit because they don't have, just have a suit at hand. So Robert Pattinson's audition tape, Christian Bale's, and the guy who played Scarecrow are all in the Val Kilmer suit auditioning for Batman.
Well, that's not a terrible suit. It's a little.
No, I mean, aside from the nipples, I think it looks great.
No. The nipples were supposed to be Clooney's suit.
Oh, that's right. That's
Kilmer's first suit had the nipples.
Did it really?
Yep, his first suit, because he has like two suits in the movie. Because he has the first suit and then he has like that sonar suit.
That's right.
And the first suit has the nipples.
I just the Kilmer. I mean I've always had a thing for Nicole Kidman, so like that was okay, but everything else about that whole the Kilmer and Clooney, could we just erase it? It's like the second Highlander movie. You just pretend it didn't exist. Just don't go there.
Well, it's really sad when you can say that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the best part of a Batman movie. You know what I mean? Like that's rough.
Well, it's like they kept trying to top the absurdity. So Arnold, but then you had Bane show up, like partnered with Poison Ivy, and Bane wasn't even.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God when they came out with the trilogy with Christian Bale. I mean, that Bane and that Joker. I mean, honestly, I was so upset in the second film that they made the Two-Face character such a short-lived character. Because could you imagine?
Yes! We talked about that on the last episode.
Yeah,
because he was amazing.
He was well. First of all, the actor, what's his name? Aaron Eckhart. Thank you. He's just an amazing actor who is really an A actor who never has really quite been accepted as an A level actor. But I mean, he is absolutely at that level. As an actor, as a storyteller, as you name it, he belongs way up there, and he gradually keeps showing up more and more in A-level films, but he's still in the thank you for smoking kind of genre of filmmaking, and I think he deserves better because he's amazing.
He's really good.
My humble
He's
opinion.
the heart of that movie, I think.
Oh,
I mean, he is so good in that movie.
He's the whole
I fully
point.
agree. He should not have died in that movie.
Well, and they featured him well in it. Like his role was really fully told in that film. It just, I agree. I thought it was dumb as hell when they showed up at the beginning of the third film. Was it the second or third? I forget. No, it was the beginning of the second film, and we had like one scene where the Scarecrow got captured again with some of the other things.
Yeah.
Remember that? And
like that, it was it was really early in the movie.
Yeah, and it was just like
it was with one of the Falcone guys.
Yeah, and it was a throwaway moment for the guy who was the heavy in the previous film, and then they made up for it.
Well, the real heavy in Batman Beyond Begins was Ra's al Ghul.
Yes,
when you think about it.
No, he absolutely was, but we saw he was the least of what we saw for the most part. We didn't know who he was at the beginning, though if you knew the story, you had a good idea. and then
Yeah.
he came back in at the end for whatever that was. But throughout the meat of the film, it was the Scarecrow character, and
Right.
I thought it was played well, honestly.
Yeah.
So
A lot of people want.
The thing about
Go ahead. I got to remember the name anyway. Go ahead.
the thing about Harvey Dent's Two-Face in The Dark Knight, though, I think the reason why he only had so much screen time as Two-Face, he was only in the last act, is because, after Rachel died, Harvey, felt like he lost everything. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, they said that he's refusing painkillers, he's refusing skin grafts. So he knew, because of the realism of that trilogy, he knew he was only going to last so long with that, because it's going to get infected. He knew he wasn't going to live much longer. And that's why he, for his last moments, went down that dark path. And that's why I think it was honestly perfect, his short-lived time as Two-Face, because in that time as Two-Face, he did exactly what Joker wanted him to do, proving that Joker won in the end.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it works.
The interesting counter to that was, because you're absolutely right. I mean, he went down the road. He drank the Kool-Aid, as it were. But it was interesting that was countered by the scene on the boat when the criminal boat chose not to blow up the civilian boat, as the Joker was saying, there's no way they're not going to do that. Which, by the way, I mean, Jack Nicholson's Joker was still amazing. But
of course,
what's his name? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the actor's
name.
Heath Ledger. God damn. I mean, just wow.
And that was kind of the first time we ever saw something like that good, I feel like, from him. Because before that, he had done a rom-com.
Yeah, it was.
I Hate About You.
It wasn't that heavy. He was unrecognizable, which tells you how much he threw himself into it. I don't think you would know that was him outside of the couple of scenes where he took the makeup off, and you could actually, with the exception of the mouth scars, you could actually see his face. I don't know if you would know that was him. I mean, the voice was totally different.
Not.
The everything. It was just incredible. And
that's another example of somebody's cast. Everybody's pissed off about it.
Really?
And then it ended up blowing. Oh yeah. A lot of people were upset that Heath Ledger was cast, because before that he had done A Knight's Tale, 10 Things I Hate About You, all these crappy,
Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, and Brokeback.
Oh,
I forgot about that.
That's right. I forgot about that. Brokeback Mountain was pretty.
It was heavy, but it wasn't.
It
wasn't heavy. It was heavy in a different way, and we'll just leave it there.
And so and same with Michael Keaton. I mean,
that was a big
Warner Brothers, because this was.
It was Michael.
Internet, right?
It's interesting.
They got a bunch of writings in.
It was around the same time with Michael Keaton having been cast as Batman, and people were like, "Are you kidding me? This comic actor with the receding hairline and everything."
Mr. Mom is Batman.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because the other big to do at that time was Die Hard. The idea of Bruce Willis was a huge. People were leaving theaters absolutely pissed off when the preview for Die Hard was being played, and they were
laughing at him. They were.
Oh, it was a joke. They actually took him out of the previews. They cut his footage
and off of all the posters.
Yes, totally got rid of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Made it about just the action film. And then, of course, when they sat in the movie, by the end of it, you're like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Well, because before that, it was just the Arnolds and the
that's the thing. That was
the
Stallones. That was your comparison. Yeah. And they knew this guy from Moonlighting. He was a comic character.
He was a sitcom actor.
Yeah.
That's all he was. Up until Die Hard, he was just a sitcom actor.
And he never really went back. I mean, he did a couple of funny films, but he sort of stayed Die Hard character. Red, that whole series, the one in space with
Unbroken.
all of that. Yeah, he just
Armageddon.
yeah.
It's Unbreakable.
Yeah. I like Unbroken.
Oh, that's right. Whatever the M Night whatever you want to call it.
You make a movie podcast, right? Like the Unbroken.
Who are you guys? What is this? What is this? But anyway, back to like the conversation 20 minutes ago. I love Ben Affleck, and another example. People are pissed off, but
I was so transitioning. I'm not the host of this fucking show, but I'm going to do it anyway. Transitioning. I was so excited when they announced they were going to do a one-off or a standalone Batman film with Ben Affleck, because I thought what he brought to both, and this is part of my issue with the film we're going to talk about. I thought that he brought to both the Batman character and the Bruce Wayne character something really interesting, and he continued keeping the two personalities separate but still together in what I thought was an effective way. Again, vocally, they found a way to solve that didn't make you laugh.
Yeah.
And
with the voice changer.
I was not I did not hate the Batman versus Superman the way everybody hated that movie.
No, I think it's
we love that movie.
Extended cut. I think the extended cut is a great movie.
You know, you have to be willing to sit through it, but come on, some of the best films we've have in our history are long. And I thought the way they developed, if you want to make a criticism, let's talk about Lex Luthor. I thought that was a choice that maybe should have been, they should have sat around the table a little longer with that one. But and
maybe not necessarily even casting, just writing in general, because that was arguably the weakest.
He was very zany.
He was unhinged. He was zany and unhinged.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you're a purist when it comes to the comic books, there have been two different versions of Lex Luthor that have worked. One, he's either this mad scientist character, okay, we've seen that in the comic books, and in the Christopher Reeve films, he still fell sort of in that category. He was not a member of society in good standing. He was literally an underground villain who just had a certain brilliance to him. Or he's supposed to be this incredible executive level businessman / politician. And that is what we saw in the animated series. I mean, he ran LexCorp. Mm-hmm. We saw, he was a billionaire.
But he's still very like cynical.
Oh, no question.
He's still very
no question.
Like,
he
awkward,
absolutely.
like evil awkwardness. Like.
There was a dirty underside to him but his public face was very much upstanding, high rolling, business political character.
Yeah.
What the hell was Eisenberg's character? I mean, he did have the LexCorp, he had the business, but come on, he was some kind of maniacal, unhinged character.
He was more like Riddler-esque than Lex Luthor.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And the thing that's crazy is that he had a couple of lines in the movie that were absolutely Lex Luthor lines. Like the painting, he's like, that painting should be upside down because we all know now that devils don't come from hell beneath, they come from the sky. I'm like, that's a Lex Luthor quote right there.
No, he was very much it's not the choice I would have made. It was an interesting choice. The way they went with it. I will tell you, I liked from the one-off film they did. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey. I thought he was actually a very good Lex Luthor. First of all,
because he was a great mix of doing his own thing, but also being Gene Hackman. You know what I mean? That was
I thought that he brought a very believable, kind of scary comedy to it that worked for me quite well. Come to find out, the actor, had a lot in common with Lex the criminal.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did I say that out loud? Sorry. But that worked for me. I didn't have any problem believing that. It would have been interesting, not that I'm saying bring him back into the major leagues, but it would have been interesting to see that approach to the character in the context of the Batman versus Superman world. But that being said,
I think if you're
go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think if you're a fan of the animated series, Batman v Superman, and in general Ben Affleck's Batman is a good Batman for you. I mean, physically looks like the animated series Batman a lot. Like the Bruce Wayne, he looks very similar. I think the suit very much resembles, at least his suit in Batman versus Superman. It's back to the gray.
It is. The ears were really the only thing. The ears and the emblem were sort of the only thing that stood apart. But I don't know. I really didn't have a criticism about it. Again, love the Batmobile.
I have a quick question before we totally get back into Batman and only talk about Batman. One quick thing about Lex Luthor.
Oh,
who would you got? Is there anyone that you would cast in this new DCU?
The one that's coming?
Yeah. Is there any? Do you have an actor? Because I have an actor in mind that like is my number one top choice for Lex Luthor.
Ooh, okay.
Well, give us yours while I think about it, because I'm curious.
Okay.
Well, no. Wait. Don't give us yours.
Okay. Go ahead.
Because I don't want to be
Rowan.
tainted. Hang on a second. I have a couple that come to mind that would be interesting. Okay. Now I'm ready. All right.
You guys go. I'm thinking.
Okay. You want to hear mine?
Go on, Braun.
Okay. Billy Zane.
Ooh, interesting.
He
unhinged, but
honestly,
still badass.
Yeah, and honestly, like, look up Billy Zane, and like the first picture that pops up, I'm like, you cannot tell me that that's not Lex Luthor.
Well, he's
from the
Lex.
Animated series level.
That's
Lex.
what I was gonna say.
That's the thing.
Yes.
That's the thing. He looks like a live action animated series Lex Luthor.
Yeah. He's like almost black. You know what I mean? Like they like hinted at it in the way he looks, but not really. You know, he's really tan.
Well, he was that mixed sort of character. You know who played the voice of Lex from the animated series? It was the guy from the Shawshank Redemption, the guard who almost threw him off the roof.
Really?
Mr. Krabs?
You didn't know that?
Is he Mr. Krabs too?
That's Mr.
Yeah.
Krabs.
Yes, it is. It's Mr. Krabs. Yeah.
That's
oh my
fucking
gosh.
the funniest thing.
I had no idea.
That's
I
really
had no
funny.
idea. That's so funny.
No, I'm trying. I'm sorry. I'm failing on his name real quick.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. On top
I'm
of my
gonna
head,
look
but
it
I
up.
just know that he's Mr. Krabs.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the range of playing that he's done. Why did that come?
Oh my gosh, he's in so many good stuff too, and it's so funny just watching him do anything serious. I'm like, that's Mr. Krabs.
I don't know who I'd cast as Lex Luthor. I'm still.
Actually, you know what's funny is he did the voice for the animated series, but the actor would also be Clancy Brown. He would also actually be a really great Lex Luthor. Shave his head and let him just do the part. I think he would be cool. I was thinking, believe it or not,
he was on The Flash. He's the guy. He's like the government.
He's the general on The Flash.
Yes,
that's
yes,
right.
he is.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
he's in a lot of shit.
in like season 2.
I think
Or
Idris
The Grodd. No,
Elba
he's in Grodd.
would be interesting as Lex Luthor.
Interesting.
Idris Elba? Really?
Interesting.
Well, but he's already
Deadshot.
Well, he's
no,
not
no, no.
James Bond.
Bloodsport.
He's already Bloodsport.
In the Suicide
In the
Squad that you
Suicide
haven't
Squad,
seen yet, Fred. You'll like it.
Oh,
What?
Oh,
You haven't seen The Suicide Squad?
I've
great.
seen parts of the first one, but no.
No, the new one is amazing, and Idris Elba is one of my favorite parts in it, and so is Margot Robbie, and she's wonderful in every way, shape, and form.
Oh yeah.
Not to dig into Shawshank Redemption here, but what about Tim Robbins as Lex Luthor?
Now that he's older and a little bigger, maybe.
Huh.
Interesting.
I'm saying that could
He's
be
a
thing.
phenomenal actor, so maybe.
I could see that.
There are a few people I can think of that would bring something to it, I think. But it's funny. I could also see Idris Elba being Batman, but that's just me.
What do you guys think? We're getting a new Batman. So many people are fan casting.
Jensen Ackles.
Who?
Jensen Ackles.
Who's that?
Who's that?
That's like the number one fan cast I see everywhere. The guy from Supernatural.
Oh, I see. I think I've seen that.
Dean from Supernatural.
There are a lot, but I've seen.
Now
honestly,
it's funny. I could
he's
see
my number
him
one.
doing Terry. I could see him doing the Batman
He's
Beyond.
too old. He's too old for Terry. I think because the first Batman movie they're making is that Batman Brave and the Bold with Damian Wayne. And so Damian is the fourth Robin, so we need an older Batman. And I honestly think Jensen Ackles is like the perfect age.
You've seen him in The Boys, right?
Yes.
Oh, him!
So good.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
And he also voices. He's voiced Batman quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I could totally see him
In
doing,
some of the animated
doing
movies.
the Bruce Wayne Batman.
A lot
combo.
of people
Yeah.
want him as Wolverine. I've seen as well, which I could also.
I could see
maybe
that.
see.
I could see that.
But no, I see a lot of who's the cannibal actor from The Social Network, Broen? The blonde guy. You know what I'm talking about? He's like a cannibal.
Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer. A lot of people want Armie Hammer as Batman.
No, you would cast him as Superman.
Oh, interesting.
I don't want him cast in anything.
Yeah, he eats people.
He eats people.
He doesn't
I've
really
seen-
eat people.
Even though I love him,
I
more
heard
than
that
anything,
controversy.
I've seen a lot of Jake Gyllenhaal, and I just don't. Maybe because
No.
when he's
No.
big, like in that Southpaw
No.
movie, like I could maybe see it.
No,
but even then,
no, they put him. They're putting him in the reboot of Roadhouse. And
yeah.
okay, we're done. We're done.
They're rebooting Roadhouse?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Jake
and
Gyllenhaal.
he's gonna be
No!
Yes.
No!
yes.
Don't
I know.
reboot Roadhouse. That's the
Mind
man.
blown.
No. That's
just
shoot.
ruined his week.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Damn it. I'm totally blank. That's the man Patrick Swayze movie.
It is.
Ghost is the
It
Ghost
is.
is
And
the Ghost
I'm sorry.
belongs to the women. Roadhouse belongs to the men.
And I'm sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal does not get to take my Patrick Swayze away.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's-
It's
I
unacceptable.
think he's a phenomenal actor, but I just don't see it. Like I don't know. I don't
No.
see that at all.
Again, if you're gonna do it, you
I
have to give it to
prefer
the
him-
kid who plays Spider-Man. That's the one who has to take over.
I prefer Gyllenhaal in the psycho roles, like Nightcrawler or Donnie Darko or honestly Mysterio. That's why I liked him as Mysterio because he was a little wired.
Yeah, he was a little nuts.
Yeah. You know who else would be interesting as, if we want to cross the pond, what's his name who plays Loki? He'd be an interesting Lex Luthor.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, I could actually see
Tom
that.
Hiddleston, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, honestly, did you ever see the Ant-Man, Fred? Because the villain in the first Ant-Man I could maybe see.
I didn't see it.
Only because he's bald and mean, but it kind of works.
We can all be bald. That's not a hard place to get to.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously.
You know what? Leonardo DiCaprio.
Whoa!
Batman.
As Lex Luthor?
No,
Or
that's
Lex
Batman.
Luthor. Either way.
Oh.
No, actually,
Interesting.
Lex Luthor, really. Lex Luthor. I'm changing my vote.
I'm not huge on like big actors playing comic book heroes.
Forget
or
about that.
characters at all.
Just think of him.
Interesting.
What he looks like is kind of crazy about him. I think he'd be a hell of a Lex Luthor.
He plays a good
Or
villain,
Joker.
if
Or
you've
Joker.
seen it.
Or Joker. He could do the Joker.
A lot.
Because have you ever seen the comparisons?
Okay, well, if he's Joker, then Harley Quinn has to be like 19.
That's okay.
Did you ever see that tweet that was did you ever stop to think that Leonardo DiCaprio just hates 9/11 so much he doesn't want to date people that remember it? Oh my god. But no, it's what's the other guy? I was just thinking
No, I haven't
somebody
heard that before, but okay.
else. Yeah. I could maybe see Leonardo.
Okay, but you want to know who the worst Batman ever was? Worst Batman ever. Robert Pattinson.
Oh god, here we go. All right,
yeah,
we're getting into it.
yeah, I went there.
We're getting
I
into
went
it.
there.
Okay.
I went there.
All right. Well,
Okay.
worse than Clooney?
Yes, because at least Clooney, they didn't take it seriously. Clooney was supposed to be ridiculous. Patton, we were supposed to believe.
Okay. Okay,
Go
so
on,
so
go on.
you what was okay, we're gonna take this from the beginning. Okay.
Let's from the start.
We're gonna
What
How
happened
long
in
is
your
this
childhood?
podcast?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, from the beginning. So you were dropped a lot as a child.
Oh,
And no, I'm joking. I'm totally kidding. You have the right to your opinion, no matter how wrong it is.
However,
But-
I think it's fitting that this didn't work out, us recording this yesterday, because today is the 1-year anniversary of its release. So
No.
yeah.
Is
today-
No.
it really?
March 3rd. Yeah.
No.
Wow.
And hell has frozen over. See how that worked out?
Okay.
Not with
so,
climate
So
change,
I
baby.
actually do want to take it from the beginning. So Ben Affleck is getting his own solo movie. You're pumped
yeah.
about it.
Yes.
And then you find out that the movie wasn't canceled, but it's changed drastically.
Now
They
it's
got a
Edward
new
Cullen.
director,
Now it's Edward Cullen.
And now it's Edward Cullen.
Yeah.
What was your initial thought? What was your initial thought to his casting? You immediately hated it?
I didn't hear
Oh.
from him for months. He locked himself in a room and cried.
What about
no?
what about the
no.
director? What about Matt Reeves? Like,
So-
when you
so
found out
here's
that
the
Matt
thing, here's the
Reeves
thing.
signed on.
I will honestly say, and I'm going to give a little bit of credit where credit is due. The film, I think, in many ways, went some interesting directions that were worthy. I thought I had a bit of a problem with the pacing, and I'm a director, so you have to understand. It's hard for me to look at a film anything other than critically.
Yeah.
Of course.
I
Understandable.
felt that, and the second time going back, which I did for you guys, and I hope you appreciate that because I never planned to
I
lay
do.
eyes on that.
We do. We do
film again.
appreciate it. We do.
I thought that atmospherically, it actually was. They made some really interesting choices. I actually wrote down for you guys my plus and minus list here of positives and
Perfect.
negatives, and
Perfect.
Let's go
and
through the pluses
of course.
because I know there's probably less on
well,
that side.
With the exception of Robert Pattinson, I thought the cast of this film was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think across the board, the ensemble they brought together for this film was incredible. Which brings me to go ahead.
Talking about how Heath Ledger was unrecognizable, Colin Farrell.
forget
I didn't
about it.
even know that was him.
yeah.
Now,
forget.
having said that, if the cast on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 15 as far as I was concerned, I mean, go down the line. Jeffrey Wright.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. As
Yeah.
Gordon, I loved him as Gordon so much.
Colin Farrell, Andy Serkis,
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz, who I haven't told my wife this yet, but she is so on the list.
And she's perfect. She is amazing in this.
Oh.
I mean, she is the
I didn't like her
Catwoman.
mask thing. I thought that could have been better thought out, but my wife's in the room and I think she's about to storm out here.
Yeah, hey Aaron, make some
But-
room for Zoe Kravitz, all right?
But no, the Peter Sarsgaard, I mean, it was an incredible cast. And having said that, I thought they were so underutilized. Like I thought Zoe Kravitz's character they actually fleshed out pretty well, but Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, we saw him, it was great, but I thought there was so much more that they could have done. I think the biggest sin was a combination of Colin Farrell. We saw him, he did some stuff but he really didn't have any direction as a character in the moving forward of the story. And the worst one was Andy Serkis. I mean, this has got to be one of the most brilliant performers of our time. And they created this sort of animosity sort of relationship between him and Bruce. And then they just threw him in the hospital like a third of the way into the film or whatever it was on the counter. I thought they so underutilized the talent pool that they had pulled together for this film. It drove me nuts. Having said that, yeah, go ahead.
Well, for Colin Farrell, I think there is an argument there. However, unfortunately, I think they're just saving it for his TV show that's actually started filming last month, which I don't think
The Penguin?
Yeah, it's like a 6-episode HBO Max series that they're doing, which I
didn't know
don't
this.
love
Okay.
that they're
Oh yeah.
stretching it out that much. I would have liked more of him in the film, but I think that's probably why, because they want to make as much money as they can off of thousands of projects, you know. But
When
it
you
still sucks.
consider the A-list level of these performers they brought in and had to pay, use the hell out of them. I mean, wring them out for every drop of worth they have to offer, and I just didn't feel they nearly utilized the talent pool they had at their fingertips. But that's me.
What did you think of Paul Dano as the Riddler? Or I guess just in general in the movie.
Honestly, I remember him. I don't remember having much of a feeling about him one way or the other. I thought it was interesting how they kind of recreated this character in some of what he was doing.
Turned him into like a serial killer.
Yeah, which took away some of the... But that goes with the darker tone that they took with this film.
Yeah.
So I thought he did a fine job. I thought I had no issues with it. However, considering how integral his role was to the story, the fact that he really didn't stand out as much of a memory for me in the film ought to say something. It still wasn't a fully realized utilization of the talent that they had in the story.
Interesting.
But atmospherically, though, I thought that was really an interesting way to approach the film, though, again, the counter to that positive is that I thought the pacing was too slow for the film. There were things that just sort of like, why are we sitting on this for so long? It's not advancing or benefiting the scene or the larger story. I thought the choices they made in the tech were really interesting. They went back, and this was on purpose, to an earlier time in the development of the Batman, character.
Right. It's a second year.
Yeah. So he's still sort of working things out, and you can see it. And I thought like the contact lens thing that was awesome.
Yeah.
Like how cool is that? And he can go back and review and things that he might have missed.
Yeah, when he takes him out and then puts him on that little thing, and it's like, and then, that's.
I thought that was as brilliant as the voice thing they did for Ben Affleck. I thought, really a great choice. The car in this film. I didn't bring it up when we were talking about the cars, the Batmobiles earlier. This one, I mean, come on.
Beef.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
How awesome is
good.
that?
I was so worried you were going to shit on it because I
No, I thought that was the best part of the whole damn film. The car was like the saving grace.
It's really smart because he's
it's
obviously
practical.
He has because he has tens of cars at his disposal. Whatever. I'm gonna turn one of them into my because I think it's
and there's a prequel book that takes place before this movie, and he was a street racer.
Really?
Yeah.
He was a street racer. That's what he did. Because we all know that before Bruce Wayne became Batman, he was just on a dark path because he had been through so much as a child, and
he's like a spoiled.
That
bitch.
was what he kind of, and that is what he got into. He got into street racing.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, my 8-year-old son is not allowed to see this film for obvious reasons. But I think we might have shown him the car scene because that's got to be one of the coolest
the
car
shot
scenes.
Where when like he's infiltrating their like drug bust or whatever, and Selena Kyle's there, and all you do is you just hear the car revving up, that high pitched screeching. Is like that's one of the in the theater
it's an
the
animal.
Sound production is amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's an animal threatening, because the animal's backed in the corner and it's threatening,
which is a theme they use a number of the stalking thing.
Yeah.
Like in the very first scene where we see Batman for the first time and we hear him walking out of the tunnel and it's just the footsteps. That was effective. I dug that. Now, having said that, I thought they dropped the ball because he comes forward. First of all, again, I can't stand Robert Pattinson in this role. And I don't feel he has the build for it. Honestly, I thought Ben Affleck was a great physique for the character. Robert Pattinson is like half my size. And Batman looked scrawny in this film to me. I'm sorry. He did. And so...
Small.
He comes out.
He was small.
I didn't like the way they made the mask fit on him with all this forehead and this weird thing. It just looked awkward. When the guys laughed at him, I kind of was with the gangsters looking at it like, seriously?
But what did you think of the hand-to-hand combat that quickly followed?
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak on both sides of the fence about this. My initial reaction when he comes out, they say, the guy's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And then goes to punch him. The fact that it took like 17 different hits before he knocked the one guy down and beats him on the ground 3 times or whatever it was. While it was kind of fun to watch just the violence of it, that's not my idea of Batman. Batman's the kind of guy who just one knock sends this guy across the rails.
Yes.
And or something really quick and definitive, as opposed to like, let me just work on this one guy for 5 minutes. Having said that was my initial reaction.
Okay.
My initial reaction. Then allowing the idea that this is early on in the Batman development.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he doesn't have his fighting techniques down quite as much. And maybe he's not quite the Batman we've all, known as a more defined and been around for a while character.
Because he's just angry right now.
Yeah, he's doing this full, and that's why I think he spent so much time on that guy. It's because he's just pissed off. He's gonna beat the shit out of everybody he possibly can, even though it's maybe not the most strategic way to go about it.
It to me, it didn't strike as the coolest way to present the threat that Batman is. But I will admit that it might be more in line with the story they're trying to tell. So I'll grant that. I still think he looks like a dweeb in a mask. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No. You're good. You're good.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I actually initially, the first time I saw it, thought about that, because there was that scene, and then there was the I don't know if you got this far today, but there was the shot in like the he gets up in the elevator and he's walking down the hallway, and it's a very dark shot, but the gun flares or whatever, the
muzzle flashes.
Yeah, the muzzle flashes are lighting the scene, and he's just walking, and they're just shooting him. And I was like, at first I was like, that's not really Batman. I mean, Batman doesn't just take bullets because he can. And then I thought about the first time we really see Ben Affleck's Batman in Batman v Superman, where he's hiding in the corner.
Yeah,
and
which, by the way, was an awesome presentation of the character.
Oh my god! One of the best character intro. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah,
and I was like, well,
where even the victims were scared of him.
No. We're on the other side of the movie screen, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that was awesome.
When Ben Affleck drops down and starts like branding people like they're cattle, I was like, this is fucking awesome. This is amazing. But like,
I have to say, just as an aside, the brand thing, that was almost a bridge too far for me.
It was. I think it did sell the fact that he's just lost what Batman is, and he's just this. He's kind of gone to the other side of Batman, but I don't know.
He's crossed over.
That. When he was just getting shot, taking bullets, I was like, there's no skill here. And I was like, well, you know what? He doesn't have it yet. And that's where I think I'm grateful that they're taking their time with this Batman as opposed to rushing it like the last Batman, which I think was the worst part of Ben Affleck's Batman, was the rushing, I mean, they killed Superman in the second movie. What do you want from me?
Yeah, they did the death of Superman storyline in his second movie, the biggest Superman comic story, and they did it in the second movie.
Yeah. I don't know why they decided to do that and cut 20 years of our Batman.
So we're supposed to believe that this is. I mean, they make it clear. Ben Affleck's Batman has been around. He is a veteran. He's been doing this. He's already lost his Robins. He's already lived out some of the worst stories from the comic tellings. And so you're right when you say, this is a guy who's kind of gone over to the other side at this point. And you wonder what he's still fighting for at this point. By the way, Jeremy Irons as Alfred in that series, I thought was fabulous.
I was going to ask you about
that. Drink in hand, like... Of course.
Yeah.
It was great.
In your dreams, Alfred.
And I love. I know you didn't like the Snyder cut that much, Fred, but I love the line where.
Oh, really?
Where he didn't like it that much, which we can talk about.